Hello and welcome to We Women Want. It's our weekly show which is for women, by women, where we discuss issues and have conversations that are women-centric. We celebrate women achievers. We also have now become a sort of a support group for women who need help. So this is a conversation which revolves around, I think, everyday conversation that issues women face, and here we try and offer solutions. Joining me in today's show, I have a panel of women CEOs. So we are going to be talking about breaking the glass ceiling. Is the boardroom much more interesting, that I guarantee, but is it more sensitive with women on board? How do the men react? And generally the work-life balance, and what are the issues that women CEOs face? Joining me on the panel is Malika Sadani. She is the founder of the Moms Company. We have Chanda Narang. She is CEO at Fraser & Hawes, the British silversmith. And we have Shivani Malik. She is the marketing director at Da Milano. First, before I really go into the show, Malika, I would like everybody to just tell us briefly a bit about yourselves. What made you, pick up work and not just be a homemaker, and what does your company do?
So, Priya, I actually come from a background where my father was in the army. Okay. And while we were growing up, I think we were always trained to be girls who become independent in whatever they want to do. I think the one thing that my mom always told us is that please be financially independent when you grow up, and you can choose to do whatever you want. And my dad would always say that, I come from the forces and I can't find you a job. So you have to work hard to find your space in your whole space or whatever you're trying to create. And so we grew up like that, knowing that, yes, we have to make a space for ourselves in the market and wherever we wish to do whatever we wish to do. And so I did my engineering, and then I did my MBA. I joined a bank, and just, I think as luck may have it, I had 2 daughters. And unfortunately, both of them had skin conditions. Okay. And I lived in London and I came back to India. And that's when I realized that there was a dearth of good quality natural products that existed in the country. And while the whole world was talking about harmful ingredients which should not be put into skincare, they actually existed in skincare here. And that sort of started my quest in saying that, okay, is there a market that exists for this? Is there something that I can create out of it, And I spoke to a lot of mothers, and I realized they were all on a very similar boat as mine, that they were looking for safer natural products, but there wasn't anything available in the market. And that kind of got me to think, then can I sort of create a business or a brand out of it? Dug deeper to realize how to figure it out and doing everything. And that's where I think a large part of the struggle was in setting up. And I think once it was set up, it was all about just focusing on the product and getting the product right. And then when the product turned out to be right, we actually got acceptance from a lot of people in the market. And that's how, of course, one thing led to another. And this is where we are today.
And I love the name, Moms Company. It's an excellent name. Chanda, Fraser & Hawes, it's a British company. I think it was more export-oriented. You're the one who actually brought it to India, made it go retail. But first, what made you choose this as, something that you'd like to do?
What
is your story?
What is my story? Okay, thank you, Priya. I think my story is really about the creativity of freeing the mind. So whatever you do, if you're going to be bogged down by, dollars and cents or the protocol or what Samaj society expects out of you, then you're always going to be limited. So when I started Fraser & Hawes, the idea was that silverware was everywhere, because India has traditional value of silverware, as England does. So when the British Silver Company came to India, the idea was, what do we create that we can give a new free expression to? Art, culture and design. That's what we focused on. Because there's nothing like creativity to free the mind. And that's the team I collected. I say, if you can think out of the box and you can take something as traditional as silver and you can create something new, interesting, evocative, silly, funny. I don't want people taking silver seriously. I don't want dungas, katoris, thalis. Sorry.
दहेज का माल नहीं चाहिए.
ना दहेज का माल नहीं चाहिए. अच्छा. दहेज क्या भाड़ में?
Well said.
अपन को दहेज नहीं चाहिए. So we want stuff that people can buy, use, keep in their house, not in their cupboard, and definitely not for dowry.
Okay.
So mix everything together. You want to put clay and silver, put clay and silver. You want to put glass and silver, put glass and silver. But make me art. I am looking to create silver into art. That's what I want. And that is what we did in Fraser & Hawes in India in 1997, which then got picked up by the parent company in England, which is 300 years old. And they started expressing themselves from the pure silver, traditional products to things which they experimented, never thought of, like silver pencils. So you shaved the pencil away.
Wow.
You took the pencil, it had a silver cover, but it was gone at the end of the month. So we had a lot of fun with silver.
Okay, at least you made silver interesting. In fact, before I go to Shivani, I have to tell you what what my producer said when we had a show of women CEOs. At least the colors will be interesting. When men CEOs, you'll just get blues and grays. Here, you're getting not just the visually and also what we're going to talk about. Definitely more colorful and interesting. Shivani, your story.
So with colorful, I will start with the word colorful. I think that's what we did with leather. We got in colors. We got leather to become interesting, like she did with silver, we did with leather, and we got, we were the first brand in India to literally produce so many colors in leather. Having said that, my story is that I belong to a business family where again my parents felt that it is extremely important to be financially independent and do something to make a mark. Whatever you do, try and excel in it, was what was taught to us. So I did my master's in economics and finance. And I got married soon after. I was to do my PhD, where my husband then said that why don't we try and build this brand together. So at that point, the brand had only 2 stores, and we decided to build this together. So we built the entire team together. It was literally like our first baby, and we still feel that it's like our firstborn. We've tried to build it with passion. We're constantly innovating. We wanted to actually, have a Make in India brand and take it global, and that's the vision. And even now, we pursue that like with a lot of passion. So we want to see it present in all parts of the world, and one day say that this Indian brand is today a global brand. So that's the story. And along the way, we also founded another brand for shoes called Rosso Brunello. And again, that is like the sister brand. So, both hand in hand, because, shoes and bags go along. It's just been an interesting journey. I won't say it's not come with its shares of ups and downs. Of course it has. But it's been an interesting journey.
What I liked about all the conversations is it's not just a mission statement, but it's also a fashion statement. That's when you bring women, you get that extra something more. So Malka, my question to you is, what do you feel that a woman brings extra to the table, really, in terms of just because she's a woman, not because of her degrees?
So I think, you need all sorts of people to just run a business. And especially when you're starting up, you need all kinds of people. I think the advantage that I have seen over the years that women bring onto the table is the fact that, one, they're very creative. Second, they're fantastic time managers, right? And that's something which is very, very important when you're doing and starting things, right? Women know how to prioritize in life, which is very important. When you start up, you want to do literally everything under the sun. And that quality of you being able to prioritize on what to focus the most on and what is it that you can delegate is something which is very important, that comes naturally to us, because as people who are running homes, as people who are taking care of family, children, your own work, yourself, I think there's a lot that you do, and all of it can only be done if you know how to manage your time well. So I think one of the biggest qualities that I see in women is that they really know how to manage this well, be able to prioritize better. And then they're very passionate people, like they're so empathetic, they're so passionate. And, it is hard when you're running a startup because, one, you're getting people to believe in your mission. And it's something that's not really honestly built. Once it gets built, people know what it stands for. But till it's not, till it's not, like everybody is joining a mission that you have. And to keep everyone motivated in your team needs a lot of empathy and a lot of you being constantly able to exuberate your excitement, your passion for the product to everybody else. I think that's what women bring beautifully onto the table.
Chanda, your take on what a woman brings more to the work table?
Well, I think Malika has
very nicely said.
Reiterated very well, and I agree with her. But I will say that आज ना औरत को इज्जत चाहिए और देनी पड़ेगी, And that is the thing that drives the woman that I have, in my experience, is the determination and the commitment, because she is fighting for everything that she or her mothers or her grandmothers have never had. The freedom to earn her own respect and determination to get that dignity. She is not now waiting for people to patronize her or give her support or say, "Acha, be a dependent." नहीं, आज औरत को इज्जत चाहिए और देनी पड़ेगी. वो छीन नहीं रही है, वो कमा रही है. Men have already got it in society. Women are now waking up and understanding कि कोई शक्ति है. We want to walk it, talk it alone, and we can't afford to fail. घर से झगड़े, पति से झगड़े, सास ससुर से झगड़े, no problem. मगर काम आपका हमेशा होगा. That courage, determination and commitment is inspiring and outstanding. That is really what I admire about the women who are at home and working and going against all odds, juggling their lives. They work that much harder because they cannot afford to fail.
A very important point. In fact, I was just looking at a statistic that says that only 26% of our workforce is women, and most of the women, Shivani, are from the lower strata society who work because they have to. So, there is also a feeling that अच्छे घर की लड़कियां काम नहीं करती हैं, or is that an old feeling जो सासें करती थी अब नहीं चलता है?
I think it's changing. See, like if you see me, I mean, all my friends are working today. And honestly, somebody who's not working, I won't say we look down upon, but we want to encourage women to be more and more financially independent. I got that, I understood that early on in my life. And I want to give that same learning to my daughter. And I hope not just to my daughter and to all the daughters that are there, because I feel with financial independence does come a lot of respect that you command. It's very important for everybody, not just a woman or a man. I think it's just important for everybody, regardless of the sex that you have, that it is important to be financially independent, because you demand that respect. You live a life which is more, which is more comfortable. You're respected in society. I think that is very, very important. Having said that, having a good mix of employees, like women and men in office, it just brings a more balanced approach, to work as well. So women are very, very sincere workers. That's what we feel. At Damilano, we're slightly more biased towards hiring more women.
Oh, I like that.
Because not just because we make women products, we also make men products. But I think women, the kind of sincerity and the hard work they put in these days, I think men still have some sort of selfish agendas. I feel women, they get sort of attached to the mission of your brand. So, every brand, like we have a vision, and that vision, that kind of, that kind of passion that we have, we want to actually have it through the layers of people working for us. And I think women catch on to it much easier. So, you have trainers as women, you have HR people as women, we want to have the sales girls as women, because they're more compassionate also, right? Yeah. So they know how to handle all sorts of customers, all sorts of problems. So we as a brand were anyways more biased towards hiring women. But having said that, you require the right amount of men also. So a good balance.
I like that. You want to give equal opportunity to men. I like that, Shivani.
In our case, we want to give equal opportunity to men.
Well said. But Malika, have you ever faced, the problem of being stereotyped, or labels? The oldest, of course, example is that men, if they are aggressive, they are hardworking. Women are pushy. वो कहते हैं. I am a political journalist, so I'll give you an example from when there was a Mahila Congress during the Rajiv Gandhi's time. He said, "Ye kya kitty club hai?" He didn't treat them at par with the Youth Congress. So, this kind of assumptions men make at face value, and then we have to actually first break through those assumptions and then get them to see who we are.
So I have actually, I wouldn't say I haven't, right? So when I started my company, we do a lot of work at the factory, then we do a lot of work with people who've been running stuff from a very long period of time. I think the one thing that I heard very often was that in my initial days I would walk in and then people would pass comments and say that, "Ye sab to theek hai, aap batao sign, check kaun karega, sign." And I was like, "Ha, aapko aur kaun chahiye? Main hu na, main sign karungi." And then they would find it really strange that yes, you also have the signing authority. Or there were people who kind of walked and looked at my face and then said, "आजकल सबको लगता है startup हो चला देंगे, like सबको लगता है काम कर सकते हैं and startup चला देंगे." So I wouldn't say they don't exist, but I think it's known that women face bias, and it's like a known thing for everybody. I think we should take this as, if you already know it, prepare yourself and how you're going to fight it. In my case, the fight back was always saying that, I'm going to keep showing up till you know that you have to work with me. And when you begin to work with me, I will show you and make sure that I get your maximum attention, because I will give you that kind of business. And that's exactly what I did. Right? I kept showing up till there was a point in time and said, "Ki chalo, since you're working so hard on doing it, let me just start working with you. Getting my first manufacturer was not easy, right? Like the volumes with which you start are not very big. So, and he was working with some really large brands, and then I had to convince him to say कि थोड़े batches बना दो, छोटे batches बना दो मेरे लिए, and I'll prove it to you that the idea is great, right? So getting them on board was hard, but once they came on board, and once they saw the brand growing month on month, year on year, then there was a very different equation that I share with them today, right? Yeah. So I think it's all about, if you know the biases exist, figure out your own version of how are you going to get over those biases. In my case, it was all about showing up and making sure that I make their time that they spend with me valuable and worth it.
Okay. So sometimes just showing up consistently and just staying with the course and not letting someone else dictate the agenda works for you. Chanda, just, you know, Malika just told us about that. How did you go about, you know, doing away with the stereotypes, expectations that people have with a woman, ye nahi kar payegi, or was not?
Well, first of all, don't take it personally. That's one thing I learned very fast. It's not about you, it's about them. So yes, you are going to meet that bias, you are going to be marked down, people are going to laugh and deride in the beginning, but like I said, it's not about you. It's not about you. So don't take it personally and don't overthink it.
Yeah.
Just drop it. Keep moving, keep going, and that's the best thing you can do. So that's what I did when I was working with you know, gender biases and was working with prejudices, and I said, okay, he who laughs last laughs best.
Yeah.
You stay with that. And you have to give that look. You have to have that inner confidence to walk it, talk it, and speak it. Then have that patience and do it. Have that determination and courage. But there will be enough people, even in the silver industry. When Fraser Hall started in India, there were several silversmiths, branded silversmiths, who said, bound to fail. You know, nobody has made it in branded silverware in India unless you have a huge amount of money backing you or a major company backing you. And where is this woman going to make it?
I like that look. That look is something we've got. Ye chori. That look.
Ye chori, I say, ye chori, kal ki chori, you know, kal ki chori. So I wasn't taken seriously until I actually became successful. And even then, there was that much jealousy and that much envy, which one had to face from particularly the male colleagues. The males, the competitors.
Did you have a problem of men reporting to you, not implicitly, but in the attitude and the way they...
Some. I had a problem with men who had an issue dealing with a woman giving them instructions. There was a lot of back chat. And at that time, of course, I felt, yaar, main mard hoti na, isko utha ke yuh chata marti. So the only time that I wanted to be a man is when I was angry at somebody who's giving me attitude for being a woman. So that's the time, if I was a man, I would have really given him, of course. But how would I deal with it was with a lot of patience and not lose my temper, because I'm dealing with a male ego. I'm dealing with a prejudice which goes very, very, very far. But you keep, as you know, you're in the field, you keep meeting sexual innuendos. You keep meeting certain amount of derision. But, you know, you take it in your stride. It's there. It's out there. You know, gender politics is out there. And you just have to look it in the face until it looks away.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of you must have had that, sir se baat karni hai, or boss se baat karni hai, or they'll call you madam sir. You know, that's another way of saying.
You know, in my personal opinion, I feel women take a lot longer to prove themselves than men do. So it takes a lot more from a woman to be taken seriously, even as a boss, than you know, a male counterpart. Even in family businesses, even in jobs, even in, I mean, I've done it all, because I was working also earlier. I did a job. It takes a while for people to understand that she's serious about her work. So, I mean, it takes longer for you to prove yourself, but I think consistently and with patience, it does come. With me personally, I love taking up challenges. So when things like this are thrown at me, I become even more motivated to prove that, listen, you've said this, now you know, I like to prove with actions, because I always feel, you know, actions speak louder than words. So that's always been my motto. And I like to speak with actions that, you know, you will see me here at work no matter what the situation is. So when you get married, they say, now she's not going to work. Then when you have a baby, they say, then now she's not going to work. But by you constantly showing up again and at it and following your passion, I think a lot of people then understand that she's not going to stop. And once that happens, you know you won.
See, the problem is a lot of people who are hiring women also realize that इनको हमें maternity leave देना पड़ेगा. We will have to give them, various other motherhood benefits, this, that. So they balk at hiring a woman. They would rather hire a man because of, which they say is the drawback.
This time is not far where maternity leaves will be taken by men as well. It's already started in the West. Hopefully it comes to India as well.
Hopefully they take it for what it's meant and not for the holiday and go on.
So then at least as people, as employers, people who are hiring, you understand that the maternity leaves have to be given to both. So at least in that way you're hiring with,
the level playing field.
there again, there's some sort of equality.
What I've noticed, about a lot of young women is actually they have already planned, if they're getting married, then there should be a father-in-law and a mother-in-law in the house, because I will get pregnant, I will need to come back to work, I will need to have them, somebody take care of it, either it'll be the mother-in-law or the mother. It's actually charted out now. Women today are very different. They're on the ball. They have already thought it through. They know they're going to get married and get pregnant, and they're going to need the minimum maternity leave, and they're going back at work.
Wow.
They are so smart. When you talk to them, no problem. I've got all my children looked after. I just need to go there, have a baby, and come back.
I like that.
Yeah, today's women are just sorted. They're on fire.
And when you have a baby, you know where to come for the skincare products. Any questions for our panel?
Hello ma'am, my name is Jyoti and my question is कि आजकल जैसे मैरिड होती हैं, इनके 2 बच्चे होते हैं, तो उनको कुछ लोगों की थिंकिंग होती है कि आप बिज़नेस नहीं चला सकते क्योंकि आपके 2 बच्चे, आप फैमिली संभालो और फैमिली चला सकते हो. कुछ लोगों की थिंकिंग होती है, तो उनके लिए आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
बहुत शक्ति हो, क्या नहीं चला सकते? देखा है भगवती, दुर्गा, काली, पार्वती.
नहीं मैम, कुछ लोगों की होती है कि थिंकिंग कि आप नहीं कर सकते ये.
अगर आप करना चाहते हैं तो आप जाके करिए.
किसी और
कौन रोक सकता है आपको? सिर्फ आप ही अपने आप को रोक सकते हैं. अगर कोई मुझे यहाँ पे एक औरत खड़ी हो जाए और कह दे मुझे इन्होंने ये कहा है, उन्होंने ये कहा, अगर आपकी जिंदगी है तो फिर ये आपका चॉइस है. आपने करना है और करके दिखाना है. फेलियर इज नॉट एन ऑप्शन. बिकॉज 10 लोग खड़े हैं आपके पीछे जो कहेंगे कि हाँ ये गिरने वाली है. देखो मैंने कहा था, सास की, बहू की, चाची, मैंने कहा था गिरने वाली है, देखो फेल हो गए ना. फेल नहीं होना, और आप कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि अंदर से वाकई हर औरत में जो शक्ति है. आप लोग अपने बच्चों के लिए क्या क्या नहीं करते?
बिल्कुल मैम, आजकल लेडीज सब कुछ कर रही हैं.
शक्ति देखिए आपने. बच्चा बीमार है, अरे 10 डॉक्टर पकड़ के लाएंगी, मोहल्ले में हल्ला करेंगी, बच्चा ठीक हो जाएगा. इस औरत की शक्ति तब आती है जब घर में इमरजेंसी होती है. मगर वही शक्ति है जो आप काम पे लाते हैं, वही शक्ति है जो आप कहीं जाते किसी की मदद में. अपनी शक्ति को आप नीचे मत दिखाइए. मतलब आपने फॉर्मूला बोलना है क्या? मैं सुंदर, मैं समझदार, मैं जवान, मैं टॉप. बस ये फॉर्मूला रख लीजिए, बाकी मंत्र छोड़ दीजिए. वही फॉर्मूला लेके चलिए.
Thank you. We have one last question. Anybody else?
Ma'am, my question is, and my name is Priyanchal. Ma'am, women चाहे जितना भी अच्छा प्रेजेंटेशन दे या जितना अच्छा वर्क करे, बट प्रमोशन के लिए हमेशा मैन का नाम हमेशा ऊपर किया जाता है. वेमेन को हमेशा अपने आप को प्रूव करना पड़ता है कि चाहे वो जितना भी घर पे वो काम करे, दैट इज़ ओके, बट वो अपनी कंपनी कैसे चला सकती है. मैन का ये भी होता है कि वो बॉस बन गई तो हमें उनके अंडर काम करना पड़ेगा. तो आप इनके बारे में क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
देखिए, आपको हमेशा अपने आप को प्रूव करना पड़ेगा, ठीक है, क्योंकि जो कि इतने हज़ारों साल की सोच जो है वो हमने ही बदलनी है. आपने ही बदलनी है, और प्यार से बदलनी है, प्रेम से बदलनी है, लड़के नहीं, झगड़ के नहीं. मगर वो इज़्ज़त आपने ही कमानी है, और आप कमा सकते हैं. आपको आपका जो एम्प्लॉय है, आदमी है, वो कितनी देर तक रिस्पेक्ट नहीं देगा. जब आपका काम, आपकी डिसीजंस, आपकी मेहनत चलती चली जाएगी, कहीं तो उसकी आंख भी झुकेगी.
So we hope. You want to answer that?
Yeah. So just to answer your question, right, and to add on to her point, bias है, ये हम सबको पता है, right? Let's discuss आप overcome कैसे कर सकते हो उसको. And I'll also share an anecdote that I just did, right? What you should do is आप अपने ही ग्रुप पे या अपनी कंपनी में या बाहर कंपनी के बाहर अपने लिए मेंटर्स ढूंढिए, राइट. दोज मेंटर्स आर पीपल जो आपसे जर्नी में थोड़े अहेड होंगे, जिन्होंने कुछ किया हुआ होगा. लाइक उसने भी बोला कि 2 बच्चे हैं, मेरे 2 बच्चे हैं, अब तो बड़े हो गए हैं, बट अभी 2 बच्चे हैं मेरे, राइट। मैंने कंपनी स्टार्ट करी, लोगों ने बोला शायद आप कुछ नहीं कर पाओगे, क्या फ़र्क पड़ता है। उन्होंने बोला, मैंने अपना काम किया, आज सबको पता है मैंने क्या किया, राइट। आप मेरे को जो सबसे ज़्यादा हेल्प किया लोगों ने वॉज मेंटर्स, कि मैं यहाँ अटक रही हूँ, मैं क्या करूँ, राइट। जो लोग आपकी जर्नी से जा चुके हैं, जो आपकी जर्नी से आगे हैं, उनको अपने मेंटर्स बनाएं, उनसे बोलो दिस इज़ व्हाट्स हैपनिंग विद मी, आप मुझे बताओ मैं कैसे उस पर अटैक करूँ, राइट। एंड वाइल देयर इज़ दिस सेट ऑफ पीपल जो कह रहे हैं कि दे आर चूजिंग मैन ओवर विमेन टू डू, देयर आर ऑल्सो अ लॉट ऑफ मैन हु आर चूजिंग विमेन। सो आई वाज जस्ट कोटिंग, मैं रिसेंटली एक फंक्शन में गई थी जहाँ पे लॉट ऑफ विमेन फ्रॉम द कॉर्पोरेट वर्ल्ड हैड कम, एंड इन वन ऑफ माई इंटरेक्शन विद वन ऑफ द वुमेन, मैंने पूछा एक लड़की से, कहती है आई वॉज ऑलवेज वेरी कॉन्शियस ऑफ मैं क्या कर रही हूँ, बिकॉज यू नो मैं आई एम इन अ टीम वेयर 4 लोग मेल हैं और मैं अकेली फीमेल हूँ, एंड वो लोग ब्रेक लेंगे स्मोकिंग का तो बाहर चले जाएंगे, उनकी मीटिंग 7 बजे के बाद होगी तो मैं अटेंड नहीं कर पाती थी बिकॉज मेरा बच्चा, मेरे को घर जाना पड़ता था। एंड शी सेड आई बिकेम वेरी कॉन्शियस कि भाई हाउ विल आई डू वेल हियर, एंड देन शी मेट वन ऑफ हर बॉसेस हु सेड कि मुझे तो मदर्स बहुत पसंद है जो काम पे आती हैं। तो शी वॉज लाइक, it was new for her, right? It said why? And what that man told her was there is nobody as efficient as mothers. उनको पता है उनको इस टाइम पे आना है, इस टाइम पे जाना है, तो उस टाइम के बीच में वो फटाफट सारा काम खत्म कर लेती हैं, राइट। सो while there is a set of men who may still be choosing women, and I'm not saying men, there will be men and women anyway who is probably making the choice, but there are enough men and women who are also giving women the due they deserve, right? The world is changing, and you have to be a part of that change.
Well said. On that very positive note, I think we're going to end today's show, and actually that is what our show is all about, is to find the positive in whatever situation we are in. This is not a show, as I keep saying, it's also a support group. So thank you all for coming here and sharing your experiences, and thank you all for being here. Thanks.
Thank you, man.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.